When we think about dignity, it's easy to tie it to external factors: wealth, appearance, status. But what's truly fascinating is how profoundly dignity flows from within. And nowhere is this clearer than in the concept of iffat, or chastity, which is often described as the ornament of the poor. Now, chastity here doesn't just refer to restraint in the traditional sense. It's a much broader idea, touching on self-respect, integrity, and the ability to rise above circumstances. It's about staying grounded and principled, even in the face of challenges. And honestly, in a society that often equates worth with wealth, that's, kind of a radical thought, right? I remember this one time early in my career, I was working on a project that involved collaborating with people from very different walks of life. There was this gentleman, let's call him Jack. Jack didn't have much financially, but he carried himself with this quiet confidence, this unshakable sense of who he was. You couldn't help but respect him. I remember thinking, he's got something money just can't buy. And that's exactly the point here. Virtue can outweigh material wealth in ways that completely redefine how people see you. Through chastity or self-restraint, someone might not have a lot, but they maintain their dignity. They stand tall, not because of what they have, but because of what they refuse to compromise on. It's, like a beacon of inner strength in a world that sometimes loses sight of these values. But it's not just about how the world sees you, is it? It's also about how you see yourself. When you embrace chastity, when you practice that kind of disciplined self-respect, you gain something deeper, a sense of pride in who you are, no matter your material circumstances. And really, that's what elevates the dignity of someone who might otherwise be overlooked. And these values, these virtues, aren't bound by wealth or poverty. They transcend. They speak to the kind of person you are, not what you own. And I think, in today's world, that's a message worth holding on to. Wealth is one of those things that people often see as, purely positive. But what's interesting is how wealth, on its own, doesn't really tell the full story. Without gratitude, without this deep, genuine appreciation for what you've been given, it can almost lose its meaning. And sometimes it even becomes a burden instead of a blessing. The thing is, gratitude changes how we, and others, perceive wealth. It's like when you acknowledge the source of your prosperity, when you use it wisely, it's not just about what you have anymore. It becomes about what you do with it, who you uplift, and how much you recognize the privilege you've been given. That attitude of gratitude, that humility, is what turns wealth into something really, truly respectable in society. There's this incredible example that comes to mind. Someone like Bill Gates, he's been one of the richest people on the planet for decades. But what people talk about most isn't just the wealth itself. It's about how he and Melinda have used it. Their philanthropy, their focus on global health, education. That's what defines them. And it's grounded in this sense of responsibility, of gratitude for their position. Without that, the money would just sit there, right? But let's flip the coin. Imagine someone with wealth who doesn't practice gratitude, who sees their fortune as purely personal triumph, disconnected from the world around them. It can lead to greed, entitlement, even isolation, spiritually, socially. It's like those riches kind of corrode from the inside out. Gratitude, in a way, keeps wealth honest. It anchors it to something bigger than just, numbers in a bank account. And this isn't just about public perception. It starts inward. Gratitude shifts your mindset. It fosters humility, builds relationships, and honestly, makes wealth more meaningful. Not just for yourself, but for everyone it touches. That's why they call it a jewel. It's rare, it's valuable, and it elevates what could otherwise just be material success. So here's where things get really interesting. Moral virtues versus material conditions. If you had to choose between dignity or wealth, gratitude or luxury, which would you prioritize? What's more crucial? Not just for survival, but for a truly meaningful life. Throughout history, we've seen countless examples of people who, despite material limitations, left an indelible mark on the world. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for instance. He lived with practically nothing in a material sense. But his courage, his integrity, and his unyielding belief in non-violence transformed nations. It's a vivid reminder that wealth, whether you have it or you don't, can never replace virtue. It's, I think, incredibly humbling, don't you? And let's bring that idea into today's world. Technology, we're surrounded by it, right? Tools, gadgets, entire platforms designed to enhance our lives. But then I think, what values guide how we use this technology? Are we bringing morality to the table? A storyteller with today's tech, for example, a screenwriter or a podcaster, can, shape hearts and minds on a global stage. But the question always comes back to intent. Are they prioritizing connection and compassion, or just profit and reach? In the end, moral virtues, traits like dignity, gratitude, and compassion, add a kind of substance that material conditions alone just can't match. They ground us, inspire us, and lift us beyond what any paycheck or possession could ever provide. And honestly, isn't that the real takeaway here? Virtues give our lives a richness, a depth that things simply can't. So as we close out this series, let's take a moment to reflect. What defines your wealth? Is it the things you own or the way you live? Because at the heart of it, our virtues, not our bank accounts, are what truly build a legacy. And on that note, we'll see you next time. Take care and keep finding meaning in the moments that matter.